Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Sanchez. I'm Public Affairs Director for the County of Hidalgo. We welcome you here today to a very somber ceremony, but one that's very necessary. Before we begin this, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of all the elected officials who are here. And I'd like to begin with the Honorable David Suarez of Westlaco, Sergio Coronado of Hidalgo, Jacqueline Bazan of La Joya, Veronica Whitaker of McAllen, Alonso Perez of Elsa, Salva de Vela of Alton, Henry Hinojosa of Mercedes, Virgil Gonzalez of Ed Couch, Diana Martinez of Alamo, Armando Ocaña of Mission, Yvette Cabrera of Granjeño, Alma Moron of La Villa, Richard Molina of Edinburgh, Rick Morales of Dana, okay, and the Honorable County Judge Richard Cortez. Because this is such a complex process, with your indulgence, I'm going to kind of narrate as the process unfolds. So at this point, Judge Cortez will now sign the declaration of local disaster due to public health emergency. Now, Judge Cortez will sign a letter to Governor Greg Abbott notifying him of the declaration of disaster and making Hidalgo County available for additional state resources. Now, each of the mayors or representatives of the respective municipalities will sign statements of support of this effort and declaration of local disaster. And finally, Judge Cortez will sign a Commissioners Court order prohibiting mass gathering of any event with 50 or more people, as well as prohibiting price gouging.
Well, I want to thank all the mayors and representatives from the various cities. Today is really a very historic day. I don't believe this has ever happened here in our county in our history. Unfortunately, this is a somber moment because this is a serious matter. And I want to congratulate all of you and thank you all of you for the support that you've given and to the efforts that you've dedicated to try to make the best decisions that we can possibly make. And the wisdom of all of us is better than the wisdom of one. This virus is a very contagious virus. And it spreads very quickly when people come together and are in close contact together. The signing of this declaration puts all of our citizens on notice that it is serious and we want to take every precaution possible. The good news is hopefully this is going to be just a precaution and that we have no serious threat here. But if for whatever reason the evidence changes and goes the wrong way and we do have a problem, this puts us ahead of the curve. This isolates us by the actions that we take to mitigate any future spreading of this horrible disease. So I thank you very much. There's going to be questions about the order that we have, the interpretation of who's affected and how we're affected. We're going to try to be as accommodating as we can to make sure that no one unduly suffers from this order. But I hope that you all understand the spirit of this action is to limit human contact with one another in mass gatherings because that's how this disease travels the fastest. So with that, I thank you all, and I offer any of our mayors and representatives of cities to make some contacts. Mayor Hernandez just walked in. We had introduced everyone. Mayor, thank you very much. It's always, good to have him, and being a physician, his advice and counsel was invaluable to the decision we ultimately made. So I welcome anyone to.
Judge, if I may,
Absolutely.
I'll give you a copy of Declaration of Local Disaster due to Public Health Emergency for the City of Mercedes that I signed this morning.
Here you go, Mayor.
In full support.
Thank you, Mayor.
Judge, I want to thank you on behalf of the city of Edinburgh for you taking the initiative to put us together. I think that there was a lot of, you could use the word dysfunction that was going on prior to yesterday's meeting. I do want to thank Mayor Hernandez for being very progressive. You were the first ones to declare a state of disaster emergency for your city. The city of Edinburgh will be doing the same thing. We'll be having another press conference at 4 o'clock. But really, I just want to say, Judge, thank you, Judge Cortez, for really putting us together, giving us direction, because we do need uniformity. There was many events that were happening that were being shut down, that of the same size, even smaller ones that were being shut down, but yet there was other events that were continuing to proceed. So I'm glad we finally got some direction, Judge. Just want to thank you for your efforts, and Mayor Hernandez for being progressive as the city of FAR, and the rest of us are following suit today.
Judge, the city of Hidalgo met yesterday. We have a declaration of disaster letter as well. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our community. The letter is right here, so let me give it to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you very much.
And Judge, I take it that we'll continue having these types of meetings as we progress, as the situation hopefully won't worsen, but nonetheless, we need to continue meeting.
Yes,
Be all on the same page.
Our future actions are going to be dictated by the consequences that happen. As we get more information, then we'll be prepared to meet again and hopefully get this problem behind us as soon as possible.
Judge, from the City of Mission, and we want to let you know and remind you that the City of Mission declared an emergency on Friday the 13th. The information is already in your office. I don't have it here with me because it's already filed in your office as far as that. And the City of Mission will have an emergency meeting on Friday to ask the council to extend it until further notice.
Mayor, we thank you very much for your leadership.
Mayor, Mayor, I'm sorry. I'm used to you being the mayor, too. Judge, again, just like everybody here, thank you for your leadership on this. It's also important that we let the people know in Hidalgo County and all our cities not to panic. These are preventive measures that we're taking. There's no need to panic. Everything's going to be fine. And so we just want to make sure that everybody is calm out there. And, we're all adults, and just behave like adults, and we're going to get through this. We've been through worse, and this is just a different thing that we're going through. So all the people out there, just don't panic. Everything's going to be fine.
Good afternoon, Judge. This afternoon, the city of McAllen will also be gathering at 4 o'clock so that we can also declare emergency and also declare everything that we need to do to move forward. And as long as we are a community, then I think together we're all going to make a difference for our community and our residents. Thank you so much for our leadership.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Judge, this Friday we'll also have a special meeting to extend the time, the length of time.
Good.
Judge, thank you for your leadership, Judge. As we speak right now, Judge, we're gonna sign the declaration right now. We got one for the city. I haven't signed it, but I'm gonna sign it right now. I just want to say right now that this thing will pass. This is nothing. I mean, a lot of this is hype, and the media is to blame for it because they like to use this stuff, okay? And I don't blame them. That sells newspapers or advertising. But this thing will pass. What we need to do right now is pray to God. God is here. He's in the mix. But nobody thinks about God in this situation. Everybody's praying in Alton because if I have my say so, that thing is not coming to Alton, okay? Judge, we're going to try to contain it where it is right now in Laredo, okay? Thank you.
Okay, well, I thank you very much. I thank all of you for being here. I thank the media for being here.
Judge, if I may interrupt, I apologize. One bit of final housekeeping, then we'll open it up to questions from the media. To the mayors and city representatives, I've been asked to remind you that your respective declaration disasters, as well as your letters to the governor, copies should be sent to both the county and state emergency management coordinators. So if you could please be mindful of that. At this point, I would like to open it to the media, but also let you know that in your media packets as you leave, there is an FAQ regarding the implications of the Commissioners Court's order. So there is a lot of detail regarding the implications of it. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
Hi.
Thank you very much for joining us today. One question that we did the story yesterday, but in terms of businesses, a lot of people, we've gotten a lot of emails here at Channel 5 of businesses, my pizzeria, what about my church, what about my wedding, my quinceañera that I have planned for Saturday. Could you just go over in terms, I know you said the guidelines, we're going to get the guidelines, but could you just go over for soundbite purposes, what exactly should businesses should be following? What do you recommend for them to not cause that panic that you guys speak of?
Okay. Obviously, there's some exemptions to the order, and the exemptions basically are characterized in three components. One, if you're a school, you're an institution of higher learning, and you're a business. Being a business is the one that gets a little complicated. The intent, of course, is to keep people from having large crowds together. So if you're a restaurant, let's take for example, well, by definition, you're a business, so you're exempt. So what we're seeing a lot of restaurants do is limit their size of the dining room. They are taking proactive actions and doing the best we can, because the spirit of what we're trying to do is to keep it from spreading. So in some instances, unfortunately, if you're in the business of having mass gatherings, like a wedding chapel, or anything that people are congregating for a social or a non-important reason, you're prohibited from having it if it's over 50 people. So it's really a lot of common sense that we want people to do this. The reason that we sign an emergency declaration is for many reasons. Number one, so we can put our government on notice that if there are financial hardships that we're going to suffer, then we would like for the governments to share with us. But again, this action is taken not for the benefit of the government, but for the benefit of our people. So we ask your support. And if you have any questions, we're going to have a call center here. And yesterday, because everybody had questions that they wanted to ask, we were overwhelmed with calls. We're going to try to be as efficient as we can to give you as many outlets as we can to get everybody the proper information they need, to go forward.
Hi, Judge, could you explain the prohibition for price gouging that you mentioned earlier?
Well, basically, simply put, that no vendor or no supplier of any service can arbitrarily just increase the prices other than the normal prices that they have. If you were selling water for $1, you can't sell it now for $2. Basically, that's what it is, and that's obvious. We don't want this tragedy, to be a profit for somebody to take advantage of this tragedy.
How will that be enforced?
Well, first of all, if we know that it occurred, then we go through the same process as any crime. This is a crime, and we will pursue action against those people through lawful means. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all. There are packets with information and will be available with additional questions here.
One more question. In terms of enforcing, because I know we said local law enforcement will get involved, in terms of businesses of prohibiting the 50 or more, how will that be informed on a local level? Also, why is it important for cities to also declare their state of emergencies? But first, Dylan.
Sure. Let me try to answer it as quickly as possible. Number one, we have 22 cities that have authority to enforce any laws that they have within the cities. The county doesn't have any authority to go into the city and enforce the city laws. So we enforce the laws outside any city jurisdiction. Cities enforce laws within their jurisdiction.
And then the enforcement question about will local police and local cities, will trained? Will police be going through some sort of training to prevent?
We have 14. We have 14 of the 22 mayors. I think that would be an individual question that you would ask each mayor. But I think the fact that they're here today is that they're in support of this action because they recognize and realize that this is a serious matter, and that we want to take every precaution possible to make sure that our citizens are well protected.
Thank you again. This concludes this event, and people will be available for additional questions.
Mayor Hernandez would like to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yo quisiera, si me hacen favor, para los medios de comunicación que hablan español, por lo menos que estén enterados, estamos transmitiendo en vivo para la gente que no tiene la oportunidad de entender el idioma inglés. Quisiéramos solamente que hablara de esta declaración y qué implica para las personas y para los negocios esta firma del documento de declaración de zona de emergencia.
Simplemente esta orden que firmé hoy básicamente dice esto, que la gente, si se va a juntar, que no se pueden juntar más que 50 personas al mismo tiempo en un cuarto o en un lugar. Unas cosas están exentas de esta ley, que si es una escuela, es una universidad o si eres un negocio. Pero negocios que están en negocio para traer gente como bodas o el Dodge Arena o las arenas, todo, ya eso no puedes tener ese tipo de transacción aquí, porque o solamente que sean menos de 50 personas. Básicamente, simplemente es lo que esto ordena.
En caso de infringir la ley o esta declaración, si alguien lo llega a hacer, ¿hay sanciones para esas personas?
No te entendí.
Alguien que no lo respete.
Claro. Es como cualquier otra violencia que sucede. Tenemos en el departamento del condado, pues el departamento de sheriff. En los diferentes municipios, pues son los departamentos de policía.
Mayor Hernandez, would you like to say something?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you, Judge, for inviting us here in the city of FAR, and all my fellow mayors and civic leaders. Thank you very much and for your leadership, quite frankly, in this endeavor. También agradecidos que you brought us here, and it's easy to brush it off as not being important. You want proof in the pudding? Look at where Europe is, look where China is, and that'll definitely tell you what happens when you blow it off. We've started off late. But in the Rio Grande Valley, we're being very aggressive. That shows proactive measures from all our leaders, especially the county's office. And your declaration today has made it very clear where the county stands, that you want to be proactive. You want to bend that curve. Those aren't familiar with the curve. That's a vertical curve that we're currently seeing in the United States, where we're having exponential growth of infections. There's a lot of people in the United States who are carriers, don't exhibit symptoms, but you have it. You just don't know it because you didn't test for it. That's what happens. That's how it spreads. But now we're moving forward as a nation, united under one flag, and we're going to be testing people. We'll find out who truly has it, and we'll isolate you and so forth. So the fact that you're doing this speaks a lot. You didn't have to do it. You chose to do it, and it's the right thing to do. As far as enforcement, you are the county judge. You're setting an order. As mayor of the city of FAR, we're here to support your endeavor. And if need be, we will enforce in the city of FAR what needs to be done for the betterment of our community. We're supposed to be doing that to begin with, elected officials, and that's what we're going to do in the city of FAR. So thank you for your leadership. Aquí estamos para apoyarlo, a todos, a la gente del Valle, por ejemplo, pero más que nada porque se debe hacer, porque es lo mejor para nuestro país.
Así es.
Thank you all.